Dan Miller, Dan Campbell, one-on-one for about 7 minutes. Do you want to just hear the whole thing and roll it?
Or do you want to wait till 5 o'clock on Fox and watch it?
Well, it's out. It's out. It's out.
We'll split it up.
Or do you want to split it up? You guys tell me what you guys want to do. Take a notes. And what does the chat say? You want to hear the whole 7 minutes? What say you?
Of course they do.
Yeah, I say we split it up based on what, like, if Dan says something that's worth talking about, maybe we stop.
Well, I think everything's going to be worth talking about.
True.
Probably every.
That's true.
Tommy K first did. Let's hear it all. Hear the whole thing. Dante 151.
There it is.
Honolulu BS. The whole
They
thing.
said play. They want
All right.
Dan.
I could have told you that.
ARF. Let's roll it.
right.
All right, chat. We are here for you, so we're gonna do it. Let's roll it. This is courtesy of Fox 2 Detroit, WJBK, Dan Miller and Dan Campbell at the winter meetings earlier today.
Changes, very busy. Just kind of give me your take on where the organization is right now and how you're feeling about things.
Yeah, we're in a good place. Obviously, we're in the middle of evaluations, Brad and myself, with looking at these draft prospects and trying to improve. Certainly we finished a majority of free agency, adding to the team. So, it's been a process. You hire the new coaches and you promote here and add the free agents. Now we're into the draft. The getting ready for the draft, and so it's been full steam ahead.
I know last year, kind of coming off that San Francisco game, it was hard. You're that close, it felt like, to being where you ultimately wanted to be. Did it hit any different this year, coming off 15 wins, coming off all those injuries, coming off a quick exit? Was there any difference in the feelings coming out of the game?
I don't know.
Or is it all just losing?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm sure there's enough guys that would tell you it was a little different. The ones who went through both of them, that it still felt the same from the standpoint that you lose the game, but it was a little different in the way it went down. I would tell you it's the same. It's disappointing and it hurts and it motivates you. I mean, ultimately, that's it. You either win the Super Bowl or you're in line with everybody else to try to win the Super Bowl the next year, and that's where we're at.
You mentioned the coaching changes. One of the things that jumped out at me right away about the John Morton hiring was that you know him. Yeah. You took a lot of the unknowns out of the equation when you bring in somebody that you've already worked with. Because when you hire somebody, you may think you know.
Yeah, that's right.
But you may not know.
That's right.
How big was that?
It was huge. It was huge. And I've got a lot of faith in John Morton. I've worked with him closely at the Saints, and then obviously, just like you said, we had him here. He was our senior offensive assistant in 2022 here. He knows golf. He knows Saint. He knows Sewell. He knows Frank. He knows you get the point. He knows some of the staff that's still here, certainly Hank and Brew that were here. So it just felt right. It felt like he was compatible to what we were doing. A ton of the things that we've done to this point, Johnny had brought. He helped us build this kind of from the get-go. So we'll change a little bit, but it was just big. There is a trust level there.
When I talked to him, one of the things that he pointed out was the importance of David Shaw. I don't think a lot of people have talked about that. Your view on bringing him in as well.
Yeah, listen, that was a big one too for us. I was fortunate to be able to get Coach Shaw. Look, he and Johnny go way back now, and they both really cut their teeth under John Gruden years ago. And I don't know if everybody quite knows Coach Shaw's got a wealth of experience. You think of Stanford first because that's where he spent a ton of time, man, successful head coach. But man, he came from the league. He's been in this league. He understands football. That's what he is. He's a football guy. So he's going to bring things to Johnny. Like his blind spots, he's going to cover his blind spots. That's what he's going to be looking for.
Shep, bringing him in to run the defense, and keeping him here, I should say, to run the defense. And to me, one of the key things is, AG allowed him to work with other position groups. Everybody knows him. Everybody will understand what the expectations are from day one, and there won't be any surprises.
That's exactly right. And there again, there's continuity. Shep was somebody that we put more responsibility on, and every time we asked him to do something, man, he really he accepted the challenge and blew it out of the water. And this will be no different. I think Shep is going to just crush this. I think he's going to be an outstanding defensive coordinator and eventually he'll be a head coach in this league. But look, the players know him. They trust him. He knows how to push those guys. He knows how to demand a lot, but he also understands what it's like to be in their shoes, you know. So he's going to do great. The staff around him is unbelievable. And, I mean, he's hit the ground running. If I could tell you the number of things that, you know, just through going back through the cut-ups, you know, and it's like, you know, we're going through this, and he's got all these detailed notes on, hey, this is what we did well. We're going to do this again. Hey, I want to change this. We talked about it as a staff, blah, blah, blah. You know, we're going through. I'm like, all right, you're hitting it.
I was trying to imagine you two in a room.
Oh,
There's no lack of intensity in that room.
No, it's awesome. He's going to be great.
Let me make a statement about the defense, and it's kind of wrapped in a question. To me, look, you guys have been elite against the run for a couple years. Yeah. Is it fair to say that the next step for you defensively is getting that quarterback on the ground? There were stats last year that says you pressured him.
Yeah.
But finishing those plays is where you can really change things.
Yes. Finishing, man. Yeah, absolutely. And we'll always be number one. We got to stop the run. You got to make teams one-dimensional in this league. And it's one thing. Look, you don't want either one. It's one thing to get thrown on, but if you get run on, you take a team's soul, man, and that's not going to happen to us. So we'll always stop that, but absolutely, because here's the thing. We said we want to get them in second long, manageable third downs. We did that when we could not finish like we needed to on the quarterback, so you nailed it.
All right, how much do you pay attention to what other teams in your division are doing? You got a couple other teams that have gone crazy in free agency.
Yeah.
How much do you watch their depth charts?
I don't look at it. I know the moves they make, but I don't sit up at night and, you know, see who they got, what they did. It's because ultimately, man, I know what we have here, and I know what our guys are about. You know, it's like it's a man, you know, the new coaches, what is it? What about the offense? You know, our offense is Jared Goff and freaking Gibbs and Saint and Sewell, and our defense is freaking Hutch and Mack and Barnes and Alex. You know what I mean? So
well, that's what I tell people. Ben didn't take all the players with him.
Dude, that's our offense and defense, you know, and it's our job to put them in position to have success. We will do that. We can do that. So those are the guys that, you know, those are the guys.
Final thing. You got your guys coming back in soon. What's your message to them as they try to grind through this thing again and get where you ultimately want to be?
Yeah, I think the message is, man, are you still hungry? You know, are you still hungry, or are you tired of taking the hits? Are you tired of taking the lumps? Like, where's your attitude at? What's your mind at? And I think I know the answer to that, but I'm going to challenge those guys. Are you ready to make another run here? And are we willing to do what it takes to win as many games as we did last year again? You know, it's not all about how many games you win. The point is, we were ready, man. We were ready last year, and we hit the ground running. We just fell short at the worst time. But we got to do the same thing we did last year and then some. And that's what it's going to be, man. Are you ready to make another run at this?
I'm attorney Mark Bernstein.
How you doing, Mark? Good stuff there. Absolutely. And again,
they gotta pay for that.
Want to thank Dan Miller and Fox 2 for that. More on that coming up. Fox 2 News at 5 and 6, and of course on the Fox local app. Dan Miller out there in Florida for the owners' meetings, traveled for Fox, and again, all that is on the Fox 2 website as well.
Did you try to go with them?
No.
Oh.
No.
Just checking.
4 main points about this, okay?
Dan put on a couple pounds.
Campbell. That's what you pay attention to.
He'll take it off by training camp.
Coaching staff. He feels very good about the coaches, okay? Feels very good about the coaching staff that he put together. 2, putting the quarterback of the other team on the ground. You can get all the pressures you want.
Yep.
But you've got to be able to put the quarterback on the ground. And that is why I think all of us collectively in here they have got to get edge help. They know that. 3.
Does Brad know?
3.
Sorry.
About what the other teams have done in free agency so far. Chicago, Minnesota, Washington. He said I'm not freaking out about what the other teams have done. We know what we have here. And then the last part, and this is, to me, the biggest part, Braylon Edwards. Are you still hungry? The message to his team, are you still hungry? Are you still willing to take the hits? because when you're a young player and you're fighting for that contract, Braylon, you tell me, it's a lot different when you're fighting for a contract than when you get paid. It is really the special players, those truly special guys that are as hungry when they get paid than when they're trying to get paid. Correct me if I'm wrong there, but is that a rarity in the league? A guy that gets paid and is still hungry?
It just depends. It depends on who was the organization that paid him. Did he get paid by the organization that he built that with, that drafted him, that entrusted him once in the draft and then entrusted him again by paying him? Or did he make his bones somewhere and then go get paid somewhere else? Because it's very different. The hunger stays if you're a Detroit Lions, because you look at these guys, they built this through 2021. Like, a lot of these guys are still on the team, knows what it's like to be under 500 wins. A lot of these guys know what it's like to have one-digit wins. They had 3 wins in 2021. Like, this team knows what it means. So the guys that have gotten paid, the Amon-Ra St. Browns, the Panay Sewells, the Jared Goffs, they still haven't accomplished anything realistically. Like, yeah, they won a couple playoff games. Yeah, they got to the NFC Championship. Yeah, they came back the next year and they won 15 games and were number 1 team in the NFC. So what? They ain't make it to the NFC Championship again. They didn't make it to the playoff. Super Bowl. They haven't won a Super Bowl. They haven't won an NFC title. So I think the hunger is still there because in their mind they'll believe that they haven't done anything. As it relates to, what was the third thing you said? You were he's not worried about.
Done, yeah.
No, what he said was, it doesn't keep him up at night, but he's aware of what the other teams are doing.
Oh, yeah.
And 100%, that's why he mentioned defense, because Chicago Bears, you may not like Caleb Williams, you may not think they're that good, but they beefed up that offensive line. They beefed up that offensive line with guys that were all pro because they want to protect that quarterback. And if you don't have any guys on the defensive line this year to rush the quarterback pressures, quarterback hurries, that's not the story. Remember when they were talking about Aiden Hutchinson? Said, he's got all these pressures. What did I say, Maz? Hurries aren't it. Getting to the quarterback, getting him corralled, and getting him on the ground, that's the name of the game. So I think they understand where they are. They understand where they need to get better. I like the conversation. It was very straightforward. I was a fan of it. But the familiarity side was cool, too. Johnny Morton being there. When you've had success and then those coaches are taken from you, it is a business. You lose an offensive coordinator. You lose a defensive coordinator. But when you've had success like the Lions have had over the last couple of years, you want some familiarity there. And having Johnny Morton, who was here in 2022, having Kelvin Shepard, who's been here since Aaron Glenn has built it, that familiarity is going to go a long ways in that locker room.
Listen, they should compare themselves to one team, and it's the Eagles. The Philadelphia Eagles have won 3 Super Bowls. They've lost a couple. They've won 3.
2.
And 2.
Been to 3 in 8 years.
Correct. 2 out of 8. They lost their offensive defensive coordinator a couple years ago, and they took a step back. But the step back that they took was because the locker room was fractured. They had issues. The Lions don't have that. So I'm going to say the new coordinators, I don't think it's going to affect the Lions. I believe they're not going to miss a step. You might not see as many fancy plays as you did, but they're not going to miss a step. They still have, to me, the top 3 offense in the whole league. So their offense, no issues. You heard Dan Campbell. First thing he said of his mouth, you got to get the other team's quarterback on the ground. Did they help themselves with free agency? No. They re-signed the guys they had. They even signed, Muhammad. They signed O'Connor. They signed everybody. They even signed, who's the guy they just signed over the weekend? That was one of their guys last year off the practice squad and made a point. Nonetheless.
Maz, not to cut you off, were you with them, the conversation, the explanation as to why, speaking of the defensive line, they didn't bring back Zadarius Smith?
Brad Holmes did mention that just to catch people up. Brad Holmes said today they just couldn't afford him. This is from Dan Miller's Twitter. Dan Miller on X. Brad Holmes on Zadarius Smith says they just couldn't afford him based on their current situation, what's coming down the road. They are staying in touch with his agent.
Yep.
Felt like he played good snaps for them last year.
He's a good fit on the team, by the way. If you can get him at a reasonable price,
right,
he is worth bringing back. You could tell he's got lion blood in him.
And by the way, Maz, nobody else signed him either, though.
I know that.
In mind,
I know that. I know that. So maybe his agent is saying, well, we're going to hold out for the Lions. Maybe he wants to stay here in Detroit. Doesn't he a Detroit rapper?
Yeah, cash doll.
Okay, so getting back to the whole Dan Campbell thing, the main thing out of that is they got to get the other quarterback on the ground, and they haven't done that, especially without Aiden Hutchinson. This is a different team last year if Hutch stayed in. It is a different team. But the 21 injuries on the IL, it took everything out of them. So they bring back the same team minus a couple of guys. Hopefully they draft well, and there's a guy out there like a Jared Verse that the Rams used and started almost instantly. I don't know if that guy's out there. If he is, great. If not, maybe you make a draft day deal and bring that guy in to help out this team. To me, that's all they need is that one position, defensive end, opposite Aiden Hutchinson.
Well, it feels like that's where they are, right? I mean, and I hate to keep talking in circles here, but it does feel like
One play. One
does,
player.
It does feel like Brad Holmes, and we talked about this last week. Would you rather Brad Holmes take best player available or take a position specific pick there?
Yeah, just throw
and get a
Hendrickson's name
defensive
out.
end. And I do believe there is no question in my mind, based on what Brad Holmes said today and based on what Dan Campbell said today, that in the first round of the NFL draft, the Detroit Lions will select the best edge rusher on the board at that time, regardless if there's a drop-dead, knockdown, best player available, if that player is ranked higher than a defensive end. I could be wrong on that, obviously, but I do think the philosophy for the draft has changed. I think they go position-specific there and not best player available.
Yeah, I was always a fan of the defensive end, the defensive tackle, one of the two. That's what you needed. Last year you struggled because you didn't have that. You didn't get to the quarterback. You didn't corral him. And I know the defense played well in spite of that. The key word is in spite of. I don't want to be in spite of. So, we keep asking this question. Do you move up? How far do you move up? Yeah, is that the goal? They've done it, pretty much 2 of the 3 years or 3 of the 4 years that Brad's been here. So does he do it again? I don't know. Are they still in talks with Trey Hendrickson? Is there some defensive end that they're in talks with now with another franchise, another team? So I just don't know exactly where they're at because it seems like they're calm. But they seem very at ease. They seem very relaxed when they're having these conversations.
They were a 15-win team.
They're true.
Yeah.
So, I think they'll figure it out. That's what we have to bank on right now.
We have no choice.
This is true, but it's heavily on the defensive tackle side, and there are some good defensive ends in here. So,
I totally understand what you're saying. They are calm
Susan.
because I think they do like what they have. I think they do currently like what they have. I'm just a little gun shy, for lack of a better way to say it, because I think their schedule is extremely difficult this year. I think they have one of the toughest schedules in the NFL this year.
Vegas came out with the over-unders.
Yes, they did. And this was a Dave Burkett right up over the weekend. The Vegas, where is it? Bet
10.5.
Online.
It's in the article, yeah. 10.5.
Bet Online has the Vegas win total for the Detroit Lions at over under 10.5 wins.
Wow.
And a lot of that is because they have 9 road games, 8 home games. 7 road games are on natural grass outside against all playoff teams.
Yep.
They did not have that last year.
All indoor last year except one.
If they go, what? I mean, what's the worst case scenario there? What's the best case scenario there in those 7 games?
I wrote it down. Like I got them on the road. I said 12-5. Yeah, I mean the road games. I think 9 of them. Best case scenario, 5-4.
They're great on the road, though. They
True.
have been.
The
last 2 years, they've been outstanding on the road.
Yeah, man, being on the road and playing against teams that are barely getting to the playoffs or not getting to the playoffs, like the Colts, is very different from playing Philly, Baltimore, Los Angeles Rams, Cincinnati Bengals, not to mention your own division. And there's a couple teams that I didn't put on here that are good games, but I think they're going to win those games. It's a gauntlet of a schedule. It's a gauntlet of a schedule.
And just to remind people,
Wow.
they have 9 road games, okay? 7 of them in outdoor stadiums.
Oh, Chiefs.
Oh,
Yeah, right. So you've got in outdoor stadiums, you've got Bears, Packers, Bengals, Chiefs, Washington football team, Philadelphia, and Baltimore. And then the two that you have in a dome, the Rams and the Vikings. Those are your 9 road games. 5-4 best case scenario there.
5-4 definitely matters.
Is that the best case scenario? And I'm asking
Best.
right now without benefit of
That's best case.
I think so.
thinking about it.
Because I literally said Philly, Baltimore, Rams, Green Bay, and Cincy in this because I think those are the games we're going to lose. I didn't even mention the Chiefs in that. The difference with the grass mass versus the turf, teams that are fast, like the Lions, Jahmyr Gibbs, blazing speed.
Turf.
Jamison Williams, blazing speed. The turf benefits them. They run a fast game. That's why teams – I remember I used to hate playing Notre Dame. Notre Dame used to keep their grass high because they want to slow you down.
Right.
They want to play the physical grind. Pittsburgh Steelers, the worst grass in the NFL, not the Chicago Bears. Like those teams, they want to muck it up, muddy it up. So to Ryan's point about the turf, that plays into that fast style of offense. That is the number one offense from the 2024 season, the Lions.
They could win 6. They could be 6-3. They could easily.
Yeah, they could be.
Easily.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They have enough talent to beat anybody.
And
on
again,
any given day. It depends what month that these games are going to be played in, obviously.
and I truly believe whoever the healthiest is now, too. I mean, after the Lions, end of year last year, just putting guys out there in
I'm shell-shocked still.
a little bit.
Yeah, I'm shell-shocked from all those injuries last year.
And
I am.
Look, they obviously will have a worse win-loss record, but they could be a better team.
Yeah.
We just don't know.
As long as they're a better team when it counts. That's all that matters.
And they're gonna have some injuries next year too.
just win the division.
And they're gonna have significant injuries because every team in the NFL has a significant injury here and there. You just hope it's not 20 of them.
So this gauntlet of a road schedule that we're talking about, not to mention the teams that they'll have to play at home. I mean, it still is the Detroit Lions, probably number 2 team right now in the NFC. How many wins do you have? The over-under is 10.5.
Braylon, it's a great question.
Yeah.
If I had to tell you right now, I would say 10-7. And that's not the worst thing that ever happened. In football, you just got to get in the tournament. Football, you get in. That's it.
Mavs?
The Rams, look at the Rams last year. They're a drive away from beating Philly in Philly and making it to the Super Bowl.
They were at the 20-yard line.
I'll be completely honest with you, and I'm not. I do not have a feel for this team at all. I just don't.
Yeah.
Like over the last 2 years, I feel like I pegged them pretty darn close.
Right.
Over the last 2 years, that's hard to do. I think I nailed them the last 2 years. I have zero feel for this team. I don't know how good the injured players are going to be when they come back. I don't know. I don't know how hungry they are going to be when they come back. I don't know about the division. The division feels like it's the toughest or among the toughest in football. 2 years ago, it was one of the weakest, and there was no doubt that the Lions were going to win the division, in my opinion. Last year, it felt like it was just this road to a coronation. I do not have a feeling of who they are this year. I just don't have a sense. I don't have a gut feeling at all about these guys.
I'll tell you this right now. It's not even close to the season yet. 10.5 is a gift. Vegas makes it 10.5. Go put all your money on them to be over. They're not winning less than 10 games. They're not. I'm telling you right now. They're a minimum 12-win team. They're a 12-win team. 3 more losses than last year. 12 wins, minimum.
Without an edge rusher?
All right, go ahead, Mike.
Right now?
Yeah,
I'm just
go
saying
ahead.
right now, without an edge rusher?
Yeah.
Okay.
Michigander says, okay, 10-7 is laughable. Y'all said 11-6 last year. I had 14-3 last year, man. You know, I mean,
I had 11-6 last year. So if you say y'all say Braylon,
Right.
I had 11-6. Ryan didn't.
right. I had 14-3 in a Super Bowl. I mean, that was, the year before I had NFC Championship game and a division championship, and they did exactly that.
No, it's never enough for them.
Right. I had it the last 2 years. I don't have a feel for this year. I'm saying 10-7 today. Season could come. I could look at the
You're
schedule.
going to have them unbeaten when the schedule comes
and
out.
I could say 13-4. I just don't know.
I think 12-5. I think 12-5, and I trust them with 12-5. I think Dan Campbell will take a step as a coach this year, but he still trusts the guys that are replacing his coordinators. He trusts Kelvin Shepard. He trusts Johnny Moe, who was my coach in San Fran. I think he trusts the players that they've brought in, this roster that they've orchestrated. I think these guys will come back, and they still believe in these guys. You see what they're doing. When they pick a guy, whether it's free agency or the draft, they are going to do everything to support those guys because they believe that they are the pieces that are going to win them a Super Bowl. So it's some tough games, but the Lions are one of the best teams in the league, 12-5.
No doubt. I'll say I didn't believe in Philly last year either. I thought Philly was just I got Philly wrong. I had Philly dead wrong last year. You got it right.
I'm right.
I got Philly dead wrong last year. I didn't believe in their coach at all. Didn't believe in.
You guys laughed at me because I had them beating the Lions in the NFC Championship.
Right. I did not have a feel for Philly last year either.
We didn't know we would lose 20
I
players.
completely miscalculated Philly.
This is true. Neither did I.
I completely miscalculated Philly, and you got to look at Nick Sirianni. Is the only coach wearing shorts in the picture?
Yes.
Super Bowl.
Yes. That's what the Super Bowl does to
I mean, it's just so great.
Knees out.
He's like,
Raheem Morris missed the picture. He was not there yet.
Yes, he was not
Raheem
there.
Morris from Atlanta was not
how do
there
you miss
yet.
the picture?
He wasn't there yet. He missed.
was
I
there?
don't know. It's Raheem Morris. I don't know what
You
to
got
tell you.
all,
Yeah, but don't do that.
season.
Give me a story before we say you missed the picture. What happened? Was there complications with
Oh,
the
no,
foot?
I have no idea.
I'm saying, find that out before you say it. 'Cause now
Well,
I
he's
just-
not in the picture.
But what I'm saying is, let's find out why he wasn't in the picture.
All right, you're on that. Braylon's tasked.
100%.
Braylon is tasked with finding out where
Because
Raheem
it-
Morris was.
Because if he missed it because he missed it, then it's negligence. If he missed it because of something went wrong with the flight, then like, damn, come on, brother, get me
Well,
on
yeah,
time.
it's a family matter.
Exactly. See, I got to get down to the bottom.
Right, all right. Braylon's
He was
on
looking
it.
for a Chick-fil-A on a Sunday. They weren't open.
See, now that's even more racist.
There you go.
There it is. There it is. The brother was looking for chicken.
There you go.
The brother was looking for chicken.
If Dayball would have answered, he wasn't there. He wouldn't say a word.